Welcome back to Van Blam. I've made it my quest to become a half-decent photographer by the end of 2024, and that means taking pictures every single day. Today, we'll be doing that at Bikes and Breakfast in Clifton, Virginia. This event always draws a great crowd and loads of cool rides. Let's find out if me and my camera can do it justice.
Good morning, everyone. Clifton has always been my favorite Bikes and Breakfast because it's a pretty location and it's got nice roads around it. Alright, we're getting close to town. I gotta dial it back. Gotta be polite coming in and out of these events if we want to keep them running. Not even 9 o'clock and we're looking pretty full. I'm gonna go see if one of my usual spots is available over by the caboose.
On duty today is my Sony a6700, wearing the new Viltrox 27mm f1.2. This lens effectively squeezes full-frame sensor performance out of this crop sensor body. You all will be joining me through this GoPro Hero 12 Black clipped to the strap of my camera bag. And off we go. I haven't been to a Bikes and Breakfast in about 2 years, and I'm glad to see attendance is as strong as ever. Pretty quickly, I decide that the 27mm Viltrox is just a little too wide for this scenario. I'll get more reach, but sacrifice some background blur, by switching to my workhorse zoom lens, the Tamron 17-70 f2.8.
Photos, are you?
Now on the Sony side of the street, we come across this custom Yamaha. I have no idea what this started out as, apart from it being a V-twin. I didn't realize at the time, but that is an exposed fuel level indicator. Pretty cool. I'm a sucker for a good frame within a frame shot, so I went for this guy through the winglet on this S1000RR. We move along, and I'm not really sure what I'm looking for here. I don't hate these, though. If you're wondering about my settings, I've got my aperture wide open at f2.8 pretty much all the time, and shutter speed anywhere between 125 and 1000, depending on movement, shade, and if I remember to change it. My lens is wearing a 4-stop ND filter, otherwise these settings would have most of my shots way overexposed. I leave ISO on auto because I'm not afraid of a little noise, and I'd rather just have one less thing to think about in run-and-gun scenarios like this. Here we arrive at the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450, presented by the team at Motorcycles of Dulles, who helped sponsor Bikes and Breakfast in Clifton. They ran a demo ride event for this bike the day before, but I unfortunately couldn't make it, so this is my first time seeing the new 450 in person. I'm sad to see that it's lost a bit of the 411's retro charm, but it looks sharp in its own way, and I'm still keen to try one out. There's a certain type of photograph that I always find myself trying to take, and that's panning shots of a moving subject. The kind where the subject, usually a vehicle, is almost completely sharp while the background has some lateral motion blur. No matter where I am or what it is I came there to shoot, I always end up fishing for this type of picture. Naturally, Bikes and Breakfast proves to be a great place to do this. The trick to getting these is to use a slightly slower shutter speed to allow for that motion blur in the background. The challenge to getting these is tracking the moving subject perfectly to keep it sharp despite the panning motion and slow shutter. This is not easy. Even shooting at full speed burst mode, I'm lucky when I come away with a keeper. Before long, it's time for the Motorcycles of Dulles raffle.
Sure, thank you. You're welcome.
I'm Curtis. I work at Motorcycles of Dulles. If you ever need to try for another bike, say hi.
I have never in my entire life won a raffle, giveaway, sweepstakes, or lottery of any kind.
0, 0, 2, 6.
And that doesn't change today, but it's still fun. I predict that a lot of people are going to leave as soon as the raffle is over, which means I'll get a lot of opportunities for those panning shots I love. We get a few tries here on Main Street. I find that the Bikes and Breakfast riders are very respectful in town and are aware that reckless riding is what gets events like this shut down. As a result, the panning motion in these shots feels a little slow. I decide to venture to the outskirts of town in the hopes of capturing some slightly more exciting shots. This is what I was looking for. Speeds make it even more difficult to keep the subject sharp, but from this vantage point, I can get in more shots per bike. More shots means I'm more likely to get a keeper.
Wonder if any of those are good.
If you or someone you know appears in any photo I've taken today, shoot me an email and I'll be happy to send it to you.
I don't know if anybody else is coming this way. I'm gonna move to a different spot.
What's up, Yellow Showy fam?
Who am I gonna get, front or back? I'm gonna get front. Calling it. These aren't exactly Stelvio, they're not even Skyline Drive, but I don't know that there are nicer roads than this any closer to DC. Okay, Bikes and Breakfast Clifton was just as enjoyable as it ever was. If you've never been, I highly recommend checking it out. There's all sorts of bikes there, everybody is welcome. Before I wrap this video up, let's jump into the studio and talk about photo editing.
The photos you've seen in this video did go through Lightroom, but all I did was apply the basic built-in lens correction profile and clicked auto settings. Masking and color grading are a whole other ballgame. I could slap on a simple preset from the Adobe library, but I don't want to. I'd rather my edits be my own. I've tried my hand at editing my favorite handful of photos from today, so let me know what you think about the results. This is one reason I also enjoy shooting film photos, because film takes editing out of the equation. You either get it right in camera or you don't, and any imperfections become a forgivable part of the picture's character.
Guys, I have a lot to learn about photography. That's why I gotta shoot every single day. And no, cell phone photos don't count. Most days, my subject ends up being Sid, my cat. But every so often, I have an excuse to put something really cool in front of the camera. And today was one of those days. Let me know what you think of this video. I know most of my audience tunes in for the motorcycle stuff. But, you know, you can't really make videos like I do without being into cameras. And sometimes I like to talk about that. If any of my van fam are experienced photographers, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Either way, I'm glad that I got to come out and do this today. I appreciate you for tuning in. Ride safe, and I'll see you next time.